Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. We're 24 hours away from the members giveaway. So if you do want to become a member, link is in the description. Only costs a couple of bucks and you get a chance to win a $100 voucher. So we're doing that on the giveaway tomorrow. It's a prepaid gift card that will be sent to the lucky winner so you can go and treat yourself, treat someone else, or just have a bit of fun. So that will be done tomorrow. We're just going to have a little kickback live. And today we're going from one enemy territory to another in the team that is Essendon. So these have been really well received. I would like to thank opposition fans for actually being quite nice. I was actually surprised. I maybe did Collingwood a disservice thinking that they'd come at me. So we go to Essendon, probably a fan base that I've probably had more scuffles with than ever, so let's get straight into it. But if you are returning, Pommy Nozza, g'day to you. I hope you're well. So let's get straight into it. So, obviously, new coach, new style of system. Brad Scott, I predict, will probably be a little bit more tougher and a little bit more rigid. Looking at North Melbourne and his time there, he really did like his ends of the ground. That was kind of a primary focus. So, well, keep that in mind. But the full back line, I've gone Jordan Ridley, a guy that I really highly rate. And I think he's very, very underappreciated in the AFL community. Zerg Thatcher, who I think has really gone on leaps and bounds. He's actually in my dynasty team. And someone that I'm quite happy I kept up with. Very solid, very rigid. And Jake Kelly on t'other end. I'm a big fan of these three, to be honest. I think we, your defenders, everyone else I've got a soft spot with them, but I think they do the simple things well, and I think that is really important and very understated. I think a lot of analysts in the AFL world, they really do get excited by piff stats, I call them. You know, your meters gained, how many lines are broken and stuff, but I think at the end of the day, you do want your defenders to defend. I think these guys are very solid defensively, but I think they use the ball very intuitively as well. They're very low-risk footballers, and if Essendon are going to get themselves out of where they are, they're going to need players like this. So I think that trio there is very good, especially Jordan Ridley. Jordan Ridley has the ability to turn a game from down back. He's a very, very good user of the football and a very, very assured player. And I like that back three. I think that back three there, it's got everything I'd look for in a back line. But moving on to the half back line, and this is usually where the excitement's happened. And we've got Libbojrjr at centre half back. Now, maybe undersized for the role, but you find that he's, for the last 2 years, particularly last three, that's been kind of his living position. And I don't think they'll be so bothered about going small because of the aerial ability. You've got Kelly and Ridley, who are very good interceptors themselves. Redman alongside him at the half-back line, who's incredible footballer, terrific footballer. And then Andy McGrath, who I think will really add a rotation. I think one thing Scott's going to do over previous coaches is really rotate that midfield. And I think you may see the best of this gentleman here. We know that Scott had his kind of particular favourites at North, and McGrath really suits that role, I think. I can see him being a real primary ball user down back, but probably splitting it about 40-60 in the midfield and really starting to see him. But I think, obviously, Essendon fans, with all due respect, you are going to be behind the 8 ball in 90% of games. So I think a lot of these players here are going to have really good numbers. And I think Andy's going to be one of them guys that's really going to take to it and really embrace a little bit more ball coming there and looking to be counter-offensive from there. And I think that's how they're going to have to set up. They're going to have to set up to hit teams on the counter. And with all the respect in the world, because I'm quite an open Carlton fan, I want Essendon in the top 8 with us. I want Essendon, Richmond, Collingwood and Carlton in the top 8. I want our rivals there. So, not that I'm supporting you. I want you to get better, though, because I want these games to mean something. But I think that half-back line there is fairly solid. I love Redman. I think he's very, very, very good footballer. And again, another guy that's probably underrated because of where Essendon are as a football club. And someone that I'd imagine that him and Ridley, if it was an open market, 17 out of 18 teams would put in a bid for him. So I really like that back line. But then we move on to where the magic happens. And Nick Martin and Durham, I really want to spend a bit to talk about them. I really like this as a wing combo. I think it's a real It's got something about it. It's got the two-way running. It's got the endeavour. And I do think that if I was him, I'd definitely be ploughing as much time as I could into the younger guys and giving them continuity. And I think that they are going to be very staples of the Essendon Football Club. I think when you add Startus into that mix, and once he's ready, that trio there is a wing trio for the next 6 to 10 years. And Startus can pinch hit on the ball, and Martin can go up half forward. I think he's got everything that you want. In the centre there, we've got a guy that, if anyone knows me, knows I've got a soft spot for Dylan Shield. Not too sure why, but I've always liked Dylan, and I will put my hands up. I was heartbroken when he chose Essendon over Carlton, but it's worked out in the end for the Blues, and I think he is very important to Brad Scott's game. I know there's a knock on his kicking and stuff, and it does my head in when people talk about him. And he's kicking, because he's just a metres gained midfielder, and that is so important in today's game. Dangerfield is loved for that. Anyone else who does it is absolutely chastised in the media. And Dylan Shield, he's going to be real important, because that's what Brad Scott likes. He likes toughness. He likes real tough to break down, rigid midfield, but he loves the metres gained. He likes getting the ball forward and then working from that as the ball hits the deck. So Dylan is going to be integral, I feel, to how Essendon go this year. And I don't want to hear any nonsense about his kicking efficiency. It's not his game. Half forward then, Archie Perkins, their premium draft pick from a couple of years ago now. I really like Archie. I think he's got something about him. I think he's got the ability, if he gets continuity, to be very good. And I think Brad Scott has to plough game time into the youngsters, but not go crazy. Don't go like Carlton 2018, where everyone's 12 and has to get a written letter from the MAR to play on a Saturday night game. I mean, actually plough it in with a bit of experience. And Carl Langford's on the other side. I think he's a very, very solid footballer, and one of them footballers that probably doesn't get enough praise because you're a better team with him, but he's not that name you look on the team sheet and go, oh shit, yeah, Langford's playing this week. And as an opposition fan, you don't get excited that you're against him. You don't get worried. So I think that's a nice combination there. You've got the youthful exuberance with a little bit of experience. And 2 metre Peter, impressive last year, was he not? Won the B&F from memory as well at Essendon. Certainly won the goal kickers medal. Probably it's a toss-up between him and Weeds, isn't it, at centre-half forward. I just think Wright with his kicking, and he's got a bit of a boomer on him, hasn't he? Centre-half forward, it makes sense. Very strong aerially. And he's a bit of a problem, isn't he, Peter Wright? Because he's one of them players that, again, probably you don't fear playing him. But based on his form last year, and when you look at Brad Scott's sides historically, a lot comes down to centre-half forward. The best football Ben Brown played was probably under Scott as well, and he was world-class, let's be honest, old Benny Brown. So I expect some big things from Peter Wright this year, and I think, that little pinch hit option as well, with Draper running through there, is really solid. So it's a fairly sturdy that. And then the full forward line, we've gone Guelphy. Aside from his hair, he does stand out with his intent and his endeavour. I think he's really modelled himself as a really good small forward, and they definitely need the pressure. This is going to really win Essendon games, and I think that's where it's going to fall off. We've seen teams that are predicted to finish bottom 4 usurp it by their forward pressure and starting defence at the earliest source, and Guelphy's a big part of that. And I think he's going to be very, very important for what Essendon are building, because you need them kind of standard setters. And one thing, he's annoying. He is one of the players on the Essendon team sheet I look at, and although I don't fear him, he annoys me because I know he's going to be hard. I know he's going to be honest, and you're going to have to beat him. Weeds is a real interesting one for me. I like this recruitment from Essendon, I have to say, because he's a guy that's never quite got going, has he? He's never quite hit the level, and you could say with Peter Wright, although he was a good player in a bad team, I don't think anyone expected Peter Wright to have the season he had. And I think Lederman, he gets that opportunity as a clean slate. He's no longer that early draft pick for Melbourne. It's kind of a reset pressure. And I think he's going to flourish here because he's going to get opportunity and there's no one really ahead of him. And I think a guy that is a real beneficiary of this is Jones, the young kid. He's not going to have to be the second tall. He gets to develop properly and be that third. And Harrison Jones is someone that I'm a big fan of as well. I'm a big fan. I think he's got a lot of talent. And I think players like Kane Baldwin and stuff like that, who I was very hot on in the draft, they're really going to benefit having Lederman as the story there because it just shows that talent doesn't guarantee success. And he's got the second opportunity, kind of in the same boat with the lads now, isn't he? He's kind of in the same boat with the lads. So I think a bit of reliability there. And if you're going to get in the team, if you can be better than Lederman, that's a huge dub, isn't it? And then Jakey Stringer needs no introduction. Say what you want about him. He is a deadly player. He is an X-factor footballer and a footballer that you've got to pay respect in the game sense because this guy can beat a side on his own. Expect to see him float everywhere as well, particularly interchange. I can see him switching on ground with Weeds, coming playing the full forward, which he does do ever so well. Followers then, Sam Draper. I expect big things from this ruckman. He's one of them ruckmen that, even though he plays for Essendon, you can't not smile when he plays. He plays the game in such a positive way and you can see he enjoys it and that kind of draws me in. And then I see the red sash and I'm like, oh, I can't like him. But I think he's definitely going to be. I think we're seeing a ruck evolution at the moment. Although Gawn is probably the best ruckman, and I don't think many people would argue that. I think Grundy, now he's playing for the same club as well, that's going to be negated. So I think the number 2 ruckman and putting pressure on Gawn is the best. And Draper's one of them guys that I'm looking at to go up. He can go forward and kick snags, which is a huge, huge plus. He's very mobile. He works both ends of the ground hard. Another year of development. I think the way that Brad Scott structures up, particularly on the ball and around stoppage, is only going to help Draper in the long term be a bit more impactful because not many ruckmen in the comp have the ability to take their own ball and burst out of a stoppage, and that's something that Draper has. So he's one that I've got an eye on. And partly because, as Carlton, rucks are always a contentious point of conversation, but a very, very good player is Sam Draper. Merritt needs no introduction. One of the most solid performers year on year from. He will be a pillar in what Essendon does. Rumours that he's wanted away. Do I believe that? I don't quite, because I think a player of his ilk would hand in a trade request, and it would be a straightforward trade to facilitate. World class is Zach Merritt, and I won't hear anything about it. And Darcy Parish next to him. Darcy Parish is a really interesting one because I think he's a guy that's come into media scrutiny a lot. The other year he was phenomenal. Last year it was like more of a stabilisation year, but still very good. But a guy that really shows sometimes you've got to keep the faith in, because I think a lot of Essendon fans probably by the back end of 2021 were like, 2020, sorry, this guy's rubbish, we need to start maybe trading him. Really hit the straps and has become it. And I expect under Scott, who likes them in and under players, I expect Parish to be a big part of it because he's going to have to be getting that pill out. On the interchange bench, then we've got Ben Hobbs. Ben Hobbs is someone that I really do think is going to get a lot of game time, and he's got something about him. He's not scared to get physical. He's also got a turn of class as well about him, and he's a strong boy. Dyson Heppo, I think the time's coming to an end for Dice, and I did find it hard to get him in the side, to be honest. Part of me didn't think he should be in the side. I suspect he will, though. I suspect he will early doors, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Dyson Heppo very quickly usurped by someone. Jones, I think brilliant footballer. And he's got all the right little things in the small packets we've got so far. I think he's only going to benefit by having another recognised tall there. Take a bit of pressure off, come from that third. We saw Ash Johnson at Collingwood do that to Carlton, and that's what he's capable of. You know, coming from that third position. They don't get any smaller, but he's also got a quick turn of pace. And Jai Caldwell, I think, completes the line. I think there's a nice little bit of nice rotation on that bench. It's nice and balanced. I really do like that. So I'd love to hear Essendon's thoughts, believe it or not, in what you think. The ones to watch, then, we do it differently. We don't name a 23rd man because that's Tosh. People that we're looking for. Lewis Hayes is one that I'm desperately looking for. Now, he was a guy that I talked about at length last year. I know Buslinger was the guy that everyone was talking about, but I said, don't sleep on Lewis Hayes. because I think he's equal to Busslinger. And he's very undersized in the terms of body mass. Very tall boy, but very wispy at the moment. But he's that wispy that I don't think will matter if you play him third. And incredible user of the ball, someone that I'm really keeping an eye on. And if I'm an Essendon fan, check out the VFL, watch him, because I think there is a huge opportunity. With them being a bit smaller, we know Brad Scott likes height. I don't think they've quite got it on the list ready to go. It needs to be manufactured from some of the young kids. Lewis Hayes is definitely one that keep an eye out, because I think he'll play by the by, and I think he'll really impress you. Elijah Status, definitely that wing role there, a rotation. That's probably one of the weak areas of them. When you look at Essendon, they haven't got really... If you're putting someone on the wing there, you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Status, a lot made on his wing work, but also remember he can play inside as well. So that won't be this year, that'll be coming forward. A little bit of an injury at the moment, so you won't see him for a while, but definitely towards the end, have a look out for. And Jai Menzies is someone that I'm a big fan of, and someone that I really do think you need to keep an eye on, because I can really see some point of difference, and Menzies is one of them point of differences. A very smart footballer. He's good aerially, but near bad on the deck either. And Tipper. Great to have Tipper back in the AFL. Someone that does, again, put a smile on your face, even though he's an Essendon fan. Great track as well. Not many footballers have good songs, unless they're sung about on this show. But Tipper Woody, great to have you back. And I don't think he'll play early. I still think he's a little bit underdone. But when he is, it'd be a great acquisition and a great addition to the Essendon thing. But that is Essendon. I will see the members tomorrow. Last chance, because you've probably got about another 9 hours to do it. At the time this will go out, it should go out about 3 or 4, so 8 hours. Make sure you click that link if you want to do it. $100 giveaway prepaid Visa card. If not, I'll see you Monday. Much love. Palm out.